On this episode of the Rugged Homestead, I thought I'd give you an update on how I'm handling chicken composting in the wintertime. It's about 20 degrees out here today, so I have to turn my compost pile for the chickens and break up the frost on the ground. So I figured I'd just show you what it is that I'm doing and how it's progressing. Normally I come in, let the chickens out, and go about doing the pile, but instead of having them run around here while I'm breaking it up, I'll let them out afterwards. As you can see, the ground is a little bit frozen. Not too bad today. The pitchfork goes in there pretty easy, but what I did probably back late October, early November, was I created a big mound of leaves that I picked up, the last of the grass clippings, and then every week I'm adding food scraps to the pile. Now, just yesterday, as a matter of fact, I had added a large amount of food scraps, and it looks like they've already sorted through them a lot over here. They spread them out. That's what's left, unless they're buried underneath here. There was a heck of a lot of mushrooms, I know, and they do like mushrooms. But we'll dig it up and see how it's actually going. Yeah, so every morning when it's frozen like this, we've had a relatively mild winter, relatively speaking. Lately, this past week, temperatures have been definitely down in the teens to low 20s in the mornings and overnight. So I come out and I actually flip this every day. But when it's a little bit warmer, because we've had like temperatures in the 40s, a good bunch this winter so far, I don't bother doing it. So, but yeah, I just come through and turn it over. And as you can see, it's actually starting to break down pretty well. I mean, like I said, it was mostly leaves. So there was some wood chips, because I put a thick layer of wood chips all over the ground here. But I regularly add once or twice a week more food scraps into the pile. Just throw them right on top. Chickens sort it out, and then I go through in the morning and flip it back over. Watch out, buddy. Yeah, Kodak likes playing with the chickens. It looks like they knocked a lot of it down as opposed to eating it all. Now, the only thing that disappointed me is that Sean at Edible Acres, when he made his pile and he turns it over and he opens it up, there's actually a good amount of steam that comes out, and his might even be snow covered at the time. I haven't seen any steam come out of my pile anytime I've opened it up, so not quite sure why, but it does seem to be slowly breaking down. The leaves have definitely broken down a lot, and the important thing is come springtime, this will quickly give the final decomposition, and I'll be able to use it as a mulch, because it's actually, even though the cold weather and stuff like that, having regularly turned it, it is continuing to break down. My thought in building this pile like this was, in addition to getting compost quicker in the springtime, was, as Sean said, providing an area of warmth for them in the really cold weather. It says break it up. Steam came out. They could, nest there. And his pile actually does that. As I said, mine hasn't done that, but fortunately we haven't had, like I said, a really bad winter this year. Of course, there's still plenty of time to go. I think if you look, I mean, it's pretty raw right now, but it's turning into compost. So the chickens know what they like, so I really don't care about what's actually in there. They eat what they want, and the rest decomposes. And that's usually what I do for the compost pile. You said cold weather like this. Today it's about 20 degrees. I'll come out and I'll turn it like this. If it's warmer, I don't bother. So let's let the girls out and see how they go. I don't know if I ever showed, but I buttoned up the coop for the winter with plastic wrapping on it. Coop has a double lock here to prevent any animals from pushing the door in. So, and I haven't installed a automatic coop door opener yet. So I've got a simple pull string here that I open up. Good morning, girls. And hook up here. Let me just show you here. I've got this string network all set up because last week we actually had a hawk come in. The girls were screaming and they went and hid in the coop, underneath the coop, and the hawk just sat up in these branches right here. And so I finally came out and chased it away. And then I ran this spider's web of string over the top to keep them at bay until the trees leaf out again. For almost the entire time, I haven't had any birds of prey like that come into the area. But last week one did, and scared the Jesus out of the girls. Like I said, they like to come in here. And they have no problems running around and sorting through it again. By this afternoon, they'll have it all knocked down like it was. And tomorrow morning, they'll go through the whole process again. After a lot of this food scraps goes away, I throw some scratch on top of it to get them interested in the pile again if I'm unable to go get scraps right away. And but they, as I said, they love coming through. But let me bring it into the coop here, because as you can also see, I've got an extension cord running up above here, and I have 2 heat lamps inside the coop that I run. I know a lot of people don't heat their coops, but I do. And so I've got one there and one over there. Aside from keeping it warm in here, it also keeps the water from freezing. I use this for the winter time. I have my barrel here, but I never did get a heater for it. So I've drained the water out of this, and I'm just using this inside now. So I come in and I clean it out each morning. I'm here anyway. And actually this morning there is a little bit of frost in there. So I let it go. But it was mostly liquid. It was mostly water. So these are, yeah, they are on. Must have been really cold during the night, During the day I turn it off. There we go. I turn them off, save a little electricity, and I'm using the deep litter method, so I have to add some more litter to it. I use, there is some hay in here, which I'd put in the nest boxes, but they just pull it all out. And this is where they lay their eggs, right here, right at the front. They're always grouped right here. So it makes it easy finding them. But I have to add more of the hemp. That's what I use, is hemp. And so I usually mix it all up, either using a rake or a shovel, and then add more on top. No smell in here, and it's one of the surprising benefits of this deep litter method. I was skeptical of it, but there really is no smell, and I had always expected it to be bad. So the girls will be out here all day and having a good time. Alright, if you like what you see, give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel if you don't already do so, and hit that alarm bell, and that way you'll be notified right away when videos like this are posted. Okay, thanks for watching. It's the next morning. I just wanted to give you an idea as to how much the chickens actually go through this pile and really work it over during the course of a day. So we had piled it up pretty good yesterday, and as you can see, they've really knocked it down. They kind of really knocked it all to this side, and still left a little path for me to walk through. Birds coming by to visit, get the early snack. But yeah, so the chickens spend a good amount of time going through it, sorting it out, and knocking it down. So it's a little bit crunchy again. It's like frozen. So I'll come through with the pitchfork and lift it up one more time. This is an update, an epilogue maybe. It was about a week or so after the last video was filmed. And I just wanted to show you that even in the depths of winter, this composting still really works, as I mentioned in the prior videos. And the chickens, even after the hard freezes that we've had, we had some frigid weather last week, below zero, horrible wind, and the ground like froze solid, but not the compost pile. I mean, there was, for a while, there was like a good inch crust of frozen compost over the top of it, but once I broke it up, down underneath, it was always like this, loose and friable. And then when we had the worst of the freezes, there was a good 4 to 5 inches thick of frozen material on top that I broke up, and again underneath it was still loose and wet like this. So it's continuing to break down over the winter, and I'm going to be bringing in another load of green waste now to add on top of this, to continue giving the chickens some diversity in their diet. And there's the latest haul of vegetable waste that the girls will be going through, sorting it out, and some things they're not going to want to eat, and they'll know which those things are, and they'll just let them be, and they'll just compost down into the pile, or other birds will come along and eat them too. But I mean, this compost is just going to have such rich diversity of nutrients in it because of the vast mix of vegetables that are brought in every week.